Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, anywhere you are in the world. Welcome to the 2022 Asian Congress for Media and Communication International Virtual Conference, hosted by the University of Kelaniya in the beautiful island country of Sri Lanka. My name is Dino Cantal. I am an assistant professor from Trinity University of Asia in Manila, the Philippines.
And on behalf of the host university, the University of Kelaniya, I welcome you all to one of the biggest virtual gatherings of communication scholars and researchers around the world this year. My name is Dr. Achala Bacon, and I'm joining you from the historical and beautiful city of Kelaniya, Colombo, Sri Lanka. Good morning. Let us start our opening program with the national anthem of Sri Lanka. I kindly request all the honorable physically present guests to rise for the national anthem, please.
Sri Lanka Mata, Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Namo Mata, Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Namo Mata, Sundara Sri Varini, Surati Ati Sogamana Lanka, Jana Kala Nikaman Kala Turuki Jaya Bhumi Ramya, Apa Hata Sapa Siri Setya Sadana, Jivana Ye Mata, Ini Ganu Gana Apa Bhakti Puja, Namo Namo Mata, Apa Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata, Beli apa vidya, Beli apa satya, Beli apa sakti, apa hati tula bakti, apa ayoke, apa je anugrani, apa jivanave, apa mukti obadi, nama jivana denine, nitina apa kubudu karan mata, jana vira vadavami naragina anumena jaya bhumi kara, Chitra mala kabe garu kala barina, yamu yamu vino kama, Deva vada samaveda duranada, Namo Namo Mata, Apa Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata, Apa Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata.
Thank you, everyone. You may now take your seats. The Asian Congress for Media and Communication is an international professional organization of faculty, researchers, and practitioners in the fields of media, journalism, communication, and language. Founded in the Philippines in 2007, the organization has organized biennial international conferences in several cities in Asia and the Pacific regions since 2008. Let us take a closer look at the past 15 years of ACMC through this short presentation.
and Communication. It is a non-stock, non-profit organization registered under the Philippine Securities and Exchange Commission. Membership is spread throughout Asia and the Pacific, even as its conferences has attracted participants as far as Europe, Latin America, and Africa. Members get to enjoy exclusive benefits such as access to ACMC activities, discounts in conference fees, receive updates on academic discussions, invitation to present papers, and priority considerations for publications and journals. The ACMC has been organizing international conferences since 2008. Since then, it has been the avenue for exchange of new knowledge and networking for researchers and academicians. This year, the international conference is hosted by the Department of Mass Communication of the University of Kelaniya in Colombo, Sri Lanka, with the theme Mediated Realities, Challenges, and Opportunities. ACMC is also engaged in publishing books and journals. The Asian Congress for Media and Communication Journal is a biannual, double-blind, peer-reviewed academic journal of the organization since 2009. It is currently listed in the Edu Index and the International Scientific Indexing. For membership inquiries and further information, please visit our website at www.asianmediacongress.org.
The University of Kelaniya is honored to host this year's ACMC International Conference. While it is not without a hassle organizing a conference as big as this, especially when we are still in a pandemic, we are proud that we were able to push through thanks to the amazing men and women behind the Department of Mass Communication and the Faculty of Social Sciences. Now, we would like to present a brief video presentation of the Department of Mass Communication, University of Kelaniya.
The University of one of the oldest universities in Sri Lanka, originated from Lanka and turned into State University in 1959, is a unique and historic institution. Today, it is considered as one of the major state universities in Sri Lanka. Founded in 1973 as a career-oriented degree program, the Department of Mass Communication has been standing strong for the last 49 years, becoming one of the outstanding departments in the Faculty of Social Sciences. We have already taken the lead as a pioneer department in the field of mass communication in Sri Lanka, ensuring the subject authority. At present, we offer many internal and external degree programs from diploma to PhD level. Further, we take pride as the first higher education entity in the country to start a degree program in public relations and media management. Every year, we experience joy in welcoming many undergraduates for special degree programs, and we dedicatedly work for the future of our undergraduates. We believe the experience here at the Department of Mass Communication leads our undergraduates through a promising journey into their bright future. Committed to practicing the department's founding principles, we are proud to produce an impressive number of recognized academics, media personnels, policymakers, and other professionals at national and international levels.
Our mission is to develop a new and better media culture by imparting all possible knowledge to the scholar. We have a strong focus on teaching and practicing the subject at different levels. There are academic staff members serving in different disciplines of communication studies. We also seek the service of subject experts and professionals in media and public relations. Not only that, we have given our extensive partnership with the mass media industry, and students benefit from the field-oriented education as they acquire hands-on experiences and build stronger competitiveness on their respective field.
We provide an excellent education environment supported by the cutting-edge facilities to our undergraduates. The department is equipped with a fully fledged audiovisual studio with laboratory opportunities to enhance the practical skills of the undergraduates. Additionally, we established the Communication Research Unit and the Media and Human Rights Center with the motive of expanding the academic research and professional domains in communication and media studies. Moreover, the department relaunched the magazine The Communicator as an online issue which was published earlier as a printed version, and did set up Youth Radio as a web radio, which is the first web radio run by a state university in Sri Lanka.
The innovative teaching methods encourage us to think beyond the box and to break the glass ceiling. We are motivated to become the best versions of ourselves.
The department ensures holistic education through various extracurricular activities.
Department of Mass Communication is where we work on our dreams, sharing our knowledge, bonding like true family.
The extracurricular activities really helps us to creatively express our perspectives.
The founders thought of today 50 years ago, and today we are thinking of 50 years from now, as the future of mass communication depends on present communicators. As we are on the verge of celebrating the Golden Jubilee in 2023, the department is now and will be the home to creative individuals who are well prepared for the coming eras of the future industrial revolutions. We hope to be the guiding light for your future. This is the Department of Mass Communication, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka.
The theme for the 2022 ACMC International Conference Sri Lanka is Mediated Realities, Challenges and Opportunities. Caught off guard by the coronavirus pandemic, everyone was forced to engage through mediated communication in order to keep everyone safe. This presented both problems and opportunities for governments and their people, even as everyone struggled to gain online access and presence. In our field, in the field of communication and the media, new technologies and opportunities emerged to answer the growing needs of the virtual world. And at the same time, this further eroded line differentiating the media professional from the amateur, truth and false information, as well as public and private spaces.
Through this conference, we seek to initiate a discourse on the paradoxes that have emerged due to the pandemic, especially in the field of mass media and communication. The conference also seeks to identify the values that need to be highlighted in the classroom to address the various ethical dilemmas that have emerged. Now, I'm pleased to invite Professor M.M. Gunathilaka, the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Kelaniya, to deliver the welcome address.
Ayubowan. Good morning from Sri Lanka. Back in January this year, I was informed by the Department of Mass
communication in our faculty that they were able to obtain the partnership to organize the annual International Research Conference of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication. Since then, as the Dean of the Faculty, I have given my support to make this conference a reality. So today, we are witnessing the beginning of all the preliminary efforts taken by the Department of Mass Communication and the ACMC International Organization. Today, I am greatly honored to welcome all the distinguished guests present here on behalf of the faculty and the University of Kelaniya for the opening ceremony of the ACMC International Conference 22. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome the chief guest, Senior Professor Nilantiri Silva, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Kelaniya. Welcome, Madam. I also welcome Senior Professor NAKPG Seniviratna, the Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, Dr. Sudat Senarath, the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Dr. P.N.D. Fernando, the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, Senior Professor Sudat S.R.D. Karinga Mudali, the Dean of the Faculty of Science, Senior Professor Janiki Heva Vicente, the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Dr. Chamli Pushpakumara, the Dean of the Faculty of Computing and Technology, and all the heads of the departments of the Faculty of Social Sciences and other faculties as well. I would also like to welcome Emeritus Professor Sunanda Mahendra, the keynote speaker of the conference today. Emeritus Professor Chandrasiri Rajapaksha, Dr. Senani Harishchandra, and Dr. Sugat Senara. Also, I would like to acknowledge the presence of distinguished guests who join us virtually today. Dr. Azman Azwan, the President of ACMC, Dr. Rachel Khan, Chair of the Board, Dr. Elena Pernia, the keynote speaker, and all other executive members of the ACMC. I would like to welcome the academics, researchers, and other officials virtually invited to this event today. Furthermore, I would like to warmly welcome all the participants presenting their research papers for the ACMC 2020 International Conference. Actually, 57 research papers will be presented in 10 sessions from today to 29th October, representing Sri Lanka, Malaysia, the Philippines, Indonesia, India, Thailand, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. Last but not least, I welcome all the postgraduate and undergraduate students who are present here today. Dear all, welcome to the University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. The ACMC International Conference 2022 can be considered as a significant event for our university, as it allows us an opportunity to increase awareness of our university among global academia, researchers, etc. As I was informed, this is the first international research conference organized by the Department of Mass Communication. As the Dean of the Faculty, I was honored to be part of the MOU signed between the department and the ACMC, making a historic moment not just for the department but for Kelaniya University as well. As someone who closely witnessed the organizing process of this conference, I can assure you that the Department of Mass Communication will be giving its best support as the host partner. I should particularly mention the guidance given by the head of department, senior lecturer Vijayananda Rupasinghe, and the country convener for ACMC, Dr. Achala Abekon, throughout the organizing process. So last but not least, I would like to congratulate the Department of Mass Communication and wish all the very best to the presenters of the ACMC 2022 International Conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Gunathilaka, the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, for the warm welcome. Dr. Azman Asmawati, the President of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication, will give the opening remarks.
Dino, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Aswan, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you, Masters of Ceremonies, Dr. Achala Abikun, University of Kelaniya, and Mr. Dino Kantal, Trinity University of Asia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Mr. Wijayananda Rapusanghe, Head Department of Mass Communication, University of Kelaniya, Professor M.M. Gunathilaka, Dean, Faculty of Social Science, University of Kelaniya, Senior Professor Nilanti De Silva, Vice Chancellor, University of Kelaniya, Dean, Head of Departments, Staff of University of Kelaniya, esteemed keynote speakers, Emeritus Professor Dr. Sunanda Mahendra, Professor Dr. Elena E. Pernia, Vice President, University of the Philippines, ACMC Board of Directors, Professor Rachel Han, Dr. Walter Udelmo, Mr. Dino Kantal, ACMC Executive Council, ACMC National Councils, conference presenters, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ACMC 2022 International Conference organized by ACMC in partnership with the Department of Mass Communication, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. When we strike the deal, I was visualizing the fat, juicy, succulent Sri Lankan crab, and to absorb into the ambience, the beautiful ambience of Colombo and Sri Lanka in general. But we can only plan. God will decide what will happen. So, though we are going virtual, let's just enjoy this virtual exchange of knowledge, perspective, ideas, discourses, differences, embrace all in the name of knowledge sharing. I wish all of you a very productive, informative, and valuable session. The linkages that you will be able to set up the networking and the new research dimension that you will venture into. My heartfelt gratitude, of course, to the hardworking and dedicated secretariat from ACMC and University of Kelaniya for their commitment, enthusiasm, and remarkable effort making ACMC 2022 a reality. Professor Rachel, Dr. Achala and her team, Dr. Walter, Mr. Dino, to the Department of Mass Communication, University of Kelaniya, our renowned keynote speakers, paper presenters, participants, and everyone for graciously coming together to make ACMC 2022 possible. I hope that you will have an excellent and enjoyable conference. Bring it on. Terima kasih. Salamat po. Bohoma istuti. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aswan. Now, I would like to warmly invite our chief guest, Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Kelaniya, to deliver the opening address, please.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dean of our Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor M.M. Gunathilaka, Dean of our Faculty of Graduate Studies, Professor Kapila Senviratna, Dean of our Faculty of Humanities, Dr. Sudat Senarath, Dr. Aswan Asmawati, keynote speakers, and the head of our Department of Mass Communication, Mr. Vijayananda Rupasinghe, distinguished invitees and conference participants. It's indeed a great pleasure to join you today for the inauguration of the ACMC International Conference 2022. I'm informed that the conference, I just heard a little while ago, that the conference is being held for the 8th time. And this year, I was told earlier that there are participants from 9 different countries. A very warm welcome to all the conference participants, all those who are present here with us in person in this hall today, as well as on Zoom. Today's, this time's conference theme, Mediated Realities, Challenges and Opportunities, I think is meant to pick up on the challenges and opportunities that have been posed by mediated communication technologies that came to the forefront during the COVID-19 pandemic. I have to confess upfront that I'm completely ignorant of what is meant by the term mediated communication technologies. But I do know that the COVID-19 pandemic led to huge changes in the way that we use technology to communicate with each other. The need for social distancing and all the lockdowns that were imposed on us from time to time as a means of controlling the spread of infection meant that many of us were confined to our homes for weeks on end. And as providers of higher education, universities were forced to adopt and quickly learn how to use technologies that most of us had never used previously, even though they were readily available. Now that the pandemic is almost behind us, we have already reverted to old habits, I think. I, for one, have stopped wearing a mask after being vaccinated. But for example, at the beginning of last month, we brought all our students back on campus again because we agreed that the whole university experience can never really be replicated online. However, I have also no doubt in my mind that some of the changes that took place during the pandemic will continue to remain common practice. Like, for example, the fact that so many of our conference participants are joining us on Zoom rather than traveling to Sri Lanka in person. We learned during the pandemic that virtual meetings can provide a very good alternative platform that is a lot less expensive and rather more climate friendly as well than face-to-face meetings in person. I've also seen how virtual student mobility has opened up new horizons for our undergraduate students to learn about cultures in different countries, different languages, and learn from teachers based in other countries as well, in a way that we had not dreamt of before the pandemic. We also continue to use Zoom classes to supplement our physical classroom facilities within the university, which are a little limited on occasion. I think the pandemic also catalyzed another dramatic change that was in the making. that of how we communicate news and events. Communication through social media such as Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, and digital news platforms seem to have overtaken the traditional printed newspapers and radio and TV channels, etc. The increased variety of ways in which we can update ourselves and learn about what is going on in the world around us, and even support worthy causes, is something that I, for one, and I think all of us, welcome and embrace. However, the ease with which social media platforms can be used to disseminate false information and sometimes even destroy social harmony is a matter of grave concern for all of us as a society. There are too many gullible people who are ready to pass on messages that they have received without checking their accuracy and authenticity. There are too many people who post messages on public fora that hurt and distress others or inflame emotions that result in physical harm to other people and places. Sometimes it may be unintentional, but at other times it is done deliberately and intentionally. I'm sure you will address some of these challenges during the course of this 3-day conference. As university academics, it falls to us to make sense of the changes that go on around us in society and to help others in our communities to adjust to these changes. This conference on media and communications will undoubtedly present an ideal forum to talk about changes in your field of study and enable you to look at these changes from many different angles within the Asian context. Before I wind up, I want to thank the head of the Department of Mass Communication, Mr. Vijayananda Rupasinghe, and the organizing committee of this conference for all the hard work that they have put in for many months in preparation for hosting this conference here in the University of Kelaniya. I know that it is not easy to host an international conference of this nature, and the economic crisis that has befallen our country this year would have undoubtedly added to their challenge. Nevertheless, they have risen to the occasion, and I congratulate them heartily on doing so. I wish all the conference participants fruitful deliberations and hope that the next time the conference is hosted in Sri Lanka, all our foreign participants will be able to join us in person and spend some time in our beautiful country. Thank you and good day to all of you.
Thank you very much, Senior Professor Nilanti De Silva, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Kelaniya. We would love to go to Sri Lanka. We at the Asian Congress for Media and Communication are very much honored with this partnership with your university as well. And as the esteemed Vice Chancellor mentioned, our virtual conference has attracted communication researchers from different parts of the globe. Dr. Walter Udelmo, the Executive Director of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication, and a professor from Trinity University of Asia in the Philippines, will give us an overview of participants of the international conference.
Thank you, Dino and Achala. Mabuhay from Manila, Philippines, the Philippines. For the 2022 International Conference, we have more than 9 countries and territories with us in our conference, not just in Asia and Oceania, but also in North America and Europe for our 2022 International Conference in partnership with the University of Kelaniya for Sri Lanka. May I request participants to comment their greetings in the chat box. Perhaps you may say your greetings in your own country greetings. All right, as I call your country. So we have participants from India. Welcome to the conference. Indonesia, Malaysia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Thailand, United Kingdom, United States of America, and of course, our host country, Sri Lanka. If I miss any country, kindly comment where you are from in our chat box, and we will recognize you later. Thank you very much, and again, mabuhay to everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Walter. At this point, we now proceed to the keynote speeches. Our first keynote speaker, Emeritus Professor Sunanda Mahendra, will be introduced by Dr. Senani Harishchandra, Senior Lecturer, Department of Sinhala and Mass Communication, University of Sri Jayawardenepura.
Hi, Boan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I frankly consider it as a great privilege to introduce my own communication guru, Professor Sunanda Mahendra, to this distinguished academic audience today with utmost respect and love. Emeritus Professor Sunanda Mahendra is a renowned scholar of communication in Sri Lanka and a founder of the Department of Mass Communication at the University of Kelaniya, the pioneering Department of Mass Communication in Sri Lanka. He is also an award-winning playwright and a director, a novelist, a poet, a critic, a newspaper columnist, and a radio broadcaster. Professor Sunanda Mahendra was born on the 28th of January, 1938, as the third of a family of 5 siblings. He gained his school education at Dharmaraj College, Kandy, and Ananda College, Colombo, Sri Lanka. He completed his Bachelor of Arts degree at the University of Kelaniya, which was then known as the Vidyalankara Pirivena, while receiving a significant exposure to literary studies and Western playwriting. He obtained his Master of Philosophy and Doctor of Philosophy degrees at the University of London, UK. Later, Professor Mahendra served as a visiting fellow in mass communication at the University of Leicester. He was also able to obtain a honorary doctorate from the University of Wrocław, Poland, while he was studying folklore at the same university. The decade of 1960 could be identified as one of the flourishing periods in his life as a young scholar. His first novel, called Heavenly Adaminisu, Men with Crooked Shadows, won the State Literary Award for the best novel in 1964. In 1965, he translated Henrik Ibsen's Hedda Gabler into Sinhala language and directed its stage play, becoming the first to introduce Henrik Ibsen's stage drama to the Sri Lankan audience. During the same period, he became a program producer at Radio Ceylon, currently known as the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And his versatile personality was further demonstrated by the pioneer to bring BBC Sandeshya to Sri Lankan listeners after serving as a professional broadcaster at the BBC World Service based in London in 1968 while reading for his PhD. Once he returned to Sri Lanka, he joined as a visiting academic at the Department of Mass Communication at the University of Kelaniya and became one of the predecessors in the establishment of the Department of Mass Communication. Presently, he holds an emeritus professorship
in the same university. Along with the growth in his academic career, Professor Sunanda Mahendra kept challenging himself by researching on creating and producing great works of art for the Sri Lankan audience. In 1976, his interest in night vision made him stage another drama for the local audience titled Jana Hatura, an enemy of the people, in conjunction with the university students. Also, Professor Mahendra's knack for creating his own stage drama resulted in producing the play Pokuruvasa in 1979, which addressed the unseen aspects of the Sri Lankan oppressed society. Aesop, Chekhov's Sandhyava, Ohuge Lokaya, and Socrates are some other famous stage plays he has composed. His stage drama, Socrates, won the award for the best play script at the State Literary Awards in 1992 and 8 other awards at the State Drama Festival in 1993. Professor Sunanda Mahendra is also recognized as a famous novelist in Sri Lanka. After winning his first state award for the first novel, Heavenly Ada Minisu, in 1964, his novel titled Nirubat Devivaru won the award for the best Sinhala novel at the State Literary Awards in 2002. Further, he won the award for the best Sinhala novel at the Godage Literary Awards in 2004 for the novel Chaya Prantaya. His publication Janakiyaman Potha, written based on his research on Sri Lankan folklore, customs, and etiquette, won him the Best Research State Literary Award in 2001, followed by the Merit State Literary Award he received for his next research-based publication, Puranokti Sangrahaya, that is in 2003. Apart from that, his poetry collection, Ogataranaya, was awarded the Best Poetry Collection at the State Literary Festival in 2006. As a recognition of his outstanding contribution to the field of mass communication, this great scholar received the UNESCO Copernicus Award for Social Sciences in 1983. His dynamic publications in various genres, such as novels, poetry, children's literature, media studies, folklore, drama, and journalism, along with his experience as a young program producer, paved the path for him to be awarded the emeritus professorship at the University of Kelaniya. Altogether, Professor Sunanda Mahendra proves that he has become a legendary artist and a media scholar in Sri Lanka. At present, he serves as an eminent university academic, a critic, a resource person in the field of mass communication, inspiring, motivating, and guiding the future generations by carrying forth his never-ending service with immense pride as an all-rounder scholar in Sri Lanka. We wholeheartedly wish Professor Sunanda Mahendra all the very best in his future academic endeavors, good health, and long life. Thank you.
I'm simply flattered by the words spoken by Dr. Senani. Anyway, thank you all for listening to that flattering story, the never-ending saga of my life, which I hope to do in creative works rather than in academic work. When I was given the title Mediated Reality by the head of the Department of Mass Communication, and to address you on the subject, taking any panoramic vision on it, I was simply surprised as to how many of us globally can give a relevant, extraneous term, or rather a glossarial term for mediated reality. In my capacity of learning, I thought the mediator cannot be translated easily into an Oriental language. Spiritual means adhyatmika. If spiritual means adhyatmika, mediated can mean madhyatmika. From today onward, perhaps, you can say mediated reality is madhyatmika yatarthaya. Whether you agree with me or not is another thing. Now coming on to this keynote address of mine, I sincerely feel that these are some of the innovative or pioneering insights that I have held over the years, gaining inspiration from two people. One is my favorite writer, Harold Innis, in his Bias of Communication. The other one is Marshall McLuhan. I honor them, and they are the people exactly like Dennis McWill, who even taught us in Leicester University in his Sociology of Mass Communications. These three people, these three scholars rather, exactly use these terms rather in a vision to create a new conceptual influence on the scholars. As such, mediated reality may have come from religious sources, sociological sources, and even anthropological sources. I am at a loss to say from which area of subject that is I come to. But Harold Innis, in his Bias of Communication, and Dennis McHale, in his rather a popular book, Sociology of Mass Communications, use these terms. I thank them for helping me to understand three factors that lead to the exemplification of this term, mediated reality. Or in Sinhala or in any other Oriental language, madhyatmika yatarthaya. Maybe up to you to decide whether it is correct or not. The fundamental standpoint in this mediator reality is that we come to know news or information through these media. In fact, I need not exaggerate on this point, as we know to what extent it has influenced us. I watch CNN. I sometimes watch Citizen News. I try to read newspapers, both in Sinhala and English. I try to get information from various sources, from sound, from print medium, and also from other visual media. Now, they have come to stay with us as a reality. We cannot go against them even though we can challenge. The chances are that we listen, we read, we see. Those who cannot listen will get to know it from visuals. Those who cannot see get it by the ear, by hearing. We come across technology, as rightly pointed out by the Vice Chancellor. The technology has played such a vital part in our life that media is nothing but technology. We have a small instrument in our pockets now. Some teachers dislike. Now, I am an early settler. We call it Adivasika. I'm an Adivasika in the field of technology to some extent. But I cannot say no to it. I can't do away with it. I got to be with it. The human development is such that even Buddha exemplified this in Dhammapada. We all know. Udagangi nayanti nettika, usukara damayanti tejana, darun namayanti. Usukara damayanti tejana. The archer makes arrows. The irrigators take water. Attana damayanti pandita. You control yourself, the wise man. It's nothing but tatchaka. In most Oriental language, takshana had come from the word tatchaka, and tatchaka is nothing but technologist. And we are all technologists. I, in fact, am tempted to use sometimes as to why, as we have passed at least 50 years of mass communication teaching in Sri Lanka, why we are not stressing the Oriental technology as a subject. Is it not possible for a university department, unlike, I am sorry to use this term, a vague subjects like public relations? Forgive me if I am mistaken. Orientalism has come to stay in technology. It needs to be perused once again. We've got to think once again about it. And as we go on, the term media orientation has changed. We used a term in the past called media orientation. It is no more used. Media related is a term used. Not only that, media technology is used. Media mediated reality is a term that has come to stay now. What are the avenues that take you into this reality? Almost all what is found in media are believed as happening. Scholars have spelled out a term virtual communication. In Sinhala, you use it, hatatti. I'm not too sure to what extent it is clarified, but we found that school teachers has to be taught on this subject. What is reality? How are we going to understand the term reality? How very realistic are these works? My teacher, Professor Tillotson, once asked me, what do you mean by news? I happen to be a novice or an amateur in the field. I said, sir, news may mean coming from north, east, west, south, 4 areas. He said, is that what you have learned? Is that all? What about newness? He innovated. Newness, novelty. Is it not news? Something that comes as a striking news. And that happens to be a reality if a person comes to say that through the media. Whether you say it, hear it, or write it, it has come to understand. And it's very difficult to define, clarify, analyze, interpret reality. But it has come to stay as a subject, giving challenges. What sort of challenges? As spelled out by Harold Innes, in his own words, he says, mechanization has emphasized complete complexity and confusion. It has to be read once or twice to understand the actual meaning behind it. It has been responsible for monopolies in the field of knowledge. And it becomes extremely important to any civilization if it is not to succumb to the influence of the monopoly of knowledge, to make some critical survey and report in his bias of communication says this. I read it 3 or 4 times to understand what it is. We find that is very difficult, quite complex. So he goes on analyzing. McLuhan had borrowed this concept from him. And he has said that today the reality is in your pocket. Take the smartphone out. It has come to stay. When I tell my son that I have seen it over the old TV, he said, I saw it from the machine that from my pocket. He uses a smartphone. I am an early settler who watches POTV. This is what he says. Reality is changing. It changes to the extent that we are mesmerized. Is it not Mohaniya? Reality is Mohaniya. Mesmerized. You are in it, whether you believe it or not. Then we come to the advancement of human existence. What is that an advancement? one can ask. The advances made in the field of technology have been intertwined in the dissemination of messages. We call it knowledge seeking. Whether you go to China or Japan, Laos or Taiwan, Philippines, everybody gets knowledge. What is message? Technology plus knowledge is equal to the information given. These are complex areas, but it has to be tackled one day. That's actually what our opportunities and challenges. We are challenged. I'm constantly challenged by media. So I thought I'll close my eyes and meditate better, because it creates perhaps sometimes barriers to knowledge seeking. Are we truly involved in receiving messages properly? I ask myself, I ask my friends, journalists, media people, how very realistic is this? We don't know, sir. It may not be realistic to you, but that's the reality that we can create. So then we come to another point. As pointed out by McLuhan, the central concern of the study of communications and media is the production, organization, composition, structures, distribution, and functions of messages systems in society. Apart from that, there's hardly a thing called communication. I use this mechanized to spread my views. You may be an innocent person who cannot respond to me immediately. So you have to come here and reply me. So we say organized production, organization, composition, structure, distribution, and functions of message systems in society. Though not strictly laid down, the social contexts are changing from time to time, in keeping with the changes in the message systems. We change in accordance with the media. Media changes its nuances in keeping with our thoughts. I go to the radio studio and utter my words. I come out. Media changes. Another person comes into the same place. He will say, no, that prophecy is wrong. That's not the way to say it, but this is the way. Am I taking your time? Sorry if I go ahead of this 20 minutes. I've never been taught to teach properly and keep the time. And I am never punctual, but today I have been punctual. And I just came to watch what is happening. This subject gives us a panoramic view of ourselves, whether it is Philippines or Singapore, Japan or China, Sri Lanka. Mediated reality is a very significant topic from several points of view. It is also noted that the reality of the concept of the term mass too is changing. I have proposed that Department of Mass Communication can no longer be there. The mass has changed. There is no mass in the smartphone that I have in my pocket. It's private, individual. How many of us know that mass is demassified? We have been trying to hunt a term. All scholars in the Orient should attempt to do it. The mass is changing. Mass is changed to the point that it's demassified to the extent that communication should be correlated with something else. Media is there, but is it mass media? This topic gives way to think of this phenomenon. It is also noted that the reality of the concept of the term mass has changed together with the development of technology. The key to the historic significance of mass due to several responsibilities is yet changed. In keeping with the political views, mass has changed. In keeping with the opinions held, the term mass is no more. Mass is now in the church still. We have a mass. But do we have a mass in media? This question gives it something like literary appreciation. To what extent is literary appreciation correct? I'm not too sure whether even the term literary criticism is valid today. We analyze, interpret, compare to the extent that each little segment gets a tiny name, a kind of a apology for our thinking. We are short of terms. If this seminar had to be held in another country, perhaps a person of my caliber will come and say, no, the term is wrong. Mediated reality cannot be there. No, it's correct. Very true of the seminar organizers. It's an honor to the subject area because it contains a lot of meaning, concentration, necessary when is mediated reality create a different kind of man in you? I ask this question. That's why you say opportunities, challenges. We challenge the media, media challenges us. Media will go to the extent of suppression, to the extent that one can say, no, you are wrong. You should be taken to the courts. The magistrate will say, no, media is correct, you are wrong. We have come to that point. So this seminar is quite significant. I'm trying my best to skip some of the areas because time will not permit me to interpret, analyze, and spell out more and more material. This mediated standpoint at times is challenged. How? We have the public opinions in small circles, in groups, in organized forms, in protesting movements, political ideologies, religious ideologies, the reality changes. The mediated reality that we held earlier is now changed. A certain chief editor of a newspaper told me, we got to listen to what the protesters do say. At times we have not taken the side of the protesters, the chief editor said. We have taken the word of the minister as a statement because we belong to that sector. So the ownership of media is a dependable factor. To what extent are we free in the mediated relations? How many reporters are requested to bring the in-depth studies? No, it's only news. News is not real sometimes. If investigative reporting is better, if featureized news items are correct and accepted, news is challenged. Then the reality is exposed to a greater extent. And this is what is meant by challenges. The reader is challenged. The viewer is challenged. The whole audience is challenged. It's not a simple formula. Teaching communication formulas, we come across a very basic. The message, to whom is the message aimed, is no longer valid. Who says what in which channel to what effect is no more. It's given up. It's challenged. Harold Laswell is challenged. But Harold Laswell was quite true to himself at a moment. So finally, as quoted by Dennis McWill, my favorite author, the media of mass communications, I know, thank you. The media of mass communications, print, film, radio, television, presents institutional purposes and perspectives. Gauge to yourself how, to what extent this is genuine. The media of mass communications, print, whether it is film, radio, television, they present a particular institutional perspective. If I am a member of the Broadcasting Corporation, I got to abide by those. If I'm a news reporter, I'm guarded by, I'm governed by, I'm administrated. My head is no longer my own head. I have nothing to say, I'm independent. I can't say I'm rational. But still in a university, most university lecturers, senior lecturers, professors can be independent. A day will come and they will also be challenged. No, you can't teach this. Get out of the class. Get rid of this profession. If that day comes, it's a challenge. It's actually like the mediated reality. There are own ways of selecting composing, recording, and sharing symbols of images will come to be. It is happening in our country as well. When I go to media institutions, I watch how things happen. Our bosses want this. Our guides want this. Our governors want this. This is how we are governed by. They are products of technology in the end. Just technology. Corporate, other collect, organized, mass productions, and mass markets. A market, we sell books. I was watching Shahan Karnatilaka's interview in CNN. The interviewer asked a valid question. Are you a supporter of the LTTE? My colleagues from other countries will apologize me. Shahan said, do you see some traces of that in my book? If so, abide by that. But I am not. I'm true to myself, but I don't know. How true the statement, I don't know. But that's what he said. Galaxy of people will watch that. A day will come when somebody will say, this book called Seven Moons is not at all satisfying. It's nothing to do with politics. It's imagination, creative imagination. But what is the reality? We are perhaps governed by other forces. That's what Dennis McEwill says. That's what Harold Innis says. That's what most prophets say. That's what critics of media say. That's what the latest anthropologists say. And that's the final word, perhaps, of communication scholars. The reality is mediated, but it can be challenged. It can give way to other opportunities. I'm sorry if you see my script later on that I have detoured from my original, and our good companion Achala will vouch for that. I said, I'm not going to read the 4 pages. I will allow you to read it later on. Take your own time and please read it. If there are any pitfalls, if there are any errors, please forgive me. But this is what I have to say as regards the key insights. I have named this title, this topic, as key insights into mediated reality. Thank you very much for your listening. Hope you have enjoyed.
Thank you very much, Professor Mahendra. And for our audiences in Zoom, if you have questions for Professor Mahendra and our next keynote speaker, kindly put them in the Q&A section of Zoom, and we will read it during the open forum.
I would like to invite our Honorable Chief Guest, Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, the Vice Chancellor of University of Kelaniya, and Professor M.M. Gunathilaka, the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, and Mr. Vijayananda Rupasinghe, the Head of the Department of Mass Communication, to present the certificate and the souvenir to the Honorable Keynote Speaker. At the same time, I invite Dr. Senani Harishchandra also to accept the souvenir, please. And Dino will read the content of the certificate.
The certificate reads, Asian Congress for Media and Communication, ACMC International Conference 2022, Colombo, Sri Lanka, presents this certificate to Professor presents this certificate to Professor Sunanda Mahendra, the keynote speaker during the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2022 International Conference on Mediated Realities, Challenges and Opportunities in partnership with the Department of Mass Communication, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, on the 27th of October 2022, signed by Dr. Azman Azwan Asmawati, the President of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication. Now, to introduce our second keynote speaker, may I call in the chairperson of the board of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication. She's the Associate Dean of the College of Mass Communication of the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Rachel Can.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you are. Greetings to the officials of the University of Kelaniya, distinguished speakers, conference participants. I echo Azwan's wish that we could be there physically on site with you in Colombo. But at the same time, it is also historical because this is ACMC 2022 will go down as the first HyFlex conference of the ACMC. I have been tasked to introduce the second keynote. So our second keynote speaker has over 30 years of experience in communication and media education, research, planning, and evaluation. Currently, she is Vice President for Public Affairs of the University of the Philippines System and professional lecturer at the UP College of Mass Communication. Until last January, she was a full-time member of the faculty of the College of Mass Communication with the rank of professor, a position from which she had retired. Previously, from August 2015 to January 2019, she was dean of that college, a position she also held from June 2006 to May 2009. She is also current president of the Philippine Communication Society and head of promotions and marketing of UPTV, the official television channel of the University of the Philippines. As if all these tasks are not enough, she also serves as a commissioner in the UNESCO Philippine National Commission. Previously, she was Reader's Advocate or News Ombudsman of the Philippine Daily Inquirer, one of the leading dailies in our country. As an ardent believer in the importance of communicating correct science, she has initiated and led various projects that seek to mainstream science and technology into the public consciousness and the nation's development policy. It is no wonder that she has been awarded Communication Excellence in Organization Excel Award by the International Association of Business Communicators. Our speaker earned her bachelor's in journalism, master's in communication research, and PhD in communication from the University of the Philippines. She also did a postdoctoral fellowship at the Center of Communication Program, Bloomberg School of Public Health, in Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland in 2001. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Dr. Elena Pernia, fondly called by her nickname Nenny by her peers.
Warmest greetings to the 2022 Asian Congress for Media and Communication International Conference delegates and organizers. I am thrilled to participate in this conference that tackles a phenomenon born of our years in the recent pandemic, more specifically from the restrictions on human movement and physical interactions due to COVID-19. Your theme, Mediated Realities, Challenges and Opportunities, is appropriate as we now take stock of the lockdown consequences resulting from COVID-19 on physical activity, social interactions, psychosocial health, life and work styles, teaching and learning modes of delivery, and message production and media consumption. At the University of the Philippines, like many other higher educational and research institutions, we have welcomed both the challenges and the new possibilities in education brought about by increasingly pervasive global interconnectivity and rapidly advancing technologies. Even before the pandemic hit, we were already discussing the paradigm shift to lifelong learning and to modes of course delivery that correspond to the requirements of the fourth industrial revolution. The COVID-19 pandemic nearly catalyzed the global paradigm shift. Even without the pandemic, higher education worldwide had already been shifting to a mode of course delivery that combines face-to-face with mediated online, virtual, and experiential learning. Such a shift has led some universities worldwide to develop teaching and research tracks for their faculty as a means of sustaining their mandate to research and innovate on one hand, and to enhance learning, thereby honing the competencies of students to cope with a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. Allow me to share with you one of our successful experiences in using the online technologies to continuing medical education in our country. Stop COVID Deaths webinar series pioneered the discussion, dissemination, and widespread adoption of knowledge on COVID-19 treatment and management in my country. On April 25, 2020, just a month after COVID-19 was acknowledged as a global pandemic, the University of the Philippines embarked on a first ever webinar series designed to quickly disseminate new information on the practice of medicine throughout the Philippines among clinicians, hospital administrators, and researchers. When the disease began its rampage over the world, there were no experts on COVID-19. Neither was there any specific treatment for the disease. With rising concerns about the need to protect the entire health system from the devastation of the viral spread of COVID-19, it was urgent to promote the highest possible standards of care for COVID patients. In such a scenario, the Stop COVID Deaths webinar series presented itself as a communication opportunity, an accelerated learning platform, and an interactive online resource providing new clinical research and COVID-19 information. Specifically, the webinar addressed the particular needs. One, the lack of both expertise and any coordinated crisis response that became so sorely evident at the outset of the pandemic. Knowledge sharing and best practices were and still are an emerging set of measures founded on a continuous reassessment of field conditions and new data. Second, rising concerns about the need to protect the entire Philippine healthcare system from being overburdened in order to save further decimation and to boost morale. And third, because popular venues for the discussion of COVID-19 issues in the Philippines were scant, it was urgent to pioneer a health communication program to quickly disseminate new knowledge and to inform the practice of medicine throughout the country about the best possible standards of care. These became the rationale for the Stop COVID Deaths webinar series to pioneer the discussion and dissemination. At the same time, to protect the entire Philippine healthcare system from further decimation. The interactive webinar series was designed to quickly disseminate new knowledge among clinicians, hospital administrators, and researchers. As the slide points out, the objective of the series was and still is to serve in the ongoing war against COVID-19 by providing timely and relevant information to various stakeholders working towards a safe and healthy Philippines. This includes the latest treatments and procedures and the best management practices for COVID-19. The primary audience of Stop COVID Deaths has always been frontline medical workers. From the very start of the pandemic and the webinar series, communication with these audiences was absolutely vital. There is also the added benefit of providing a much needed emotional support system for our frontliners, for whom the pandemic was not just a professional struggle, but also a very personal battle waged on a daily basis. Further, to promote inclusivity, the webinar series catered to a secondary audience belonging to specific sectors. For example, education, media, science and technology, etc., and also to the general public, not only in the Philippines, but around the world. For educators, communication professionals, and researchers, much of the COVID-19 response were hopelessly impenetrable, mired in scientific terminology and impersonal statistics. Our webinar wanted to personalize this. Stop COVID Deaths is designed as a public health education program where the goal is to expand knowledge and practices of health workers by hearing from other healthcare professionals and medical experts about their on-the-ground experiences dealing with COVID cases. Learning outcomes are concrete and specific, and these are: at the end of each webinar session, participants are expected to have increased awareness of best practices and perspectives of COVID-19 clinical management, and they should have learned how to manage various key COVID-19 health issues. Each episode follows a talk show format where a tandem of public health experts, Drs. Raymond Francis Sarmiento and Susan Pineda Mercado, serve as hosts. Moreover, to establish and sustain audience attendance and engagement, each episode integrates engaging participative activities like a fun quiz via Mentimeter and Zoom, the upvoting of questions which allow the audience member to ask his or her question live. Beyond these audience engagement tactics, Stop COVID Deaths webinar series is also able to retain audience interest because it is able to inform and educate in an entertaining manner. Secondly, the hosts reinforce the fun way to learn new things by being relaxed and friendly. And thirdly, the language is popular. It combines English and Filipino. Technical and medical jargon and concepts are used only as appropriate, and are translated into simpler and understandable terms. Utilizing the Zoom platform of the UP system, each episode of the webinar series is also live streamed in our YouTube channel. And also, beginning this October, Stop COVID Deaths can be viewed on our digital channel, Signal Cable 101. The slogan, stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, together we can stop COVID deaths, is delivered every webinar as a reminder to everyone that we are not alone in this battle, that there is a collective effort done by every Filipino in support of the frontline workers. This message resonates with the core message of the Filipino tradition of bayanihan, the spirit of cooperation and solidarity inherent to Philippine medical community and to all Filipinos. The message, stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, underpins each of the 122 episodes and 7 seasons of the Stop COVID Deaths. At the start, the focus was on clinical management updates. At that time, we brought UP's sharpest minds to bear on the problems and issues surrounding COVID-19. We built on the expertise of the University of the Philippines Philippine General Hospital as a teaching hospital to bring frontline medical education to the entire country. We called in our distinguished alumni in various fields of expertise, from medicine to public administration to economics to media and communication, to work together in a shared space that is free and openly accessible to everyone. In line with its objectives, the producers of Stop COVID Deaths assiduously ensure that everyone involved, whether in front or behind the cameras, are experts in their fields. For example, the hosts themselves are experienced public health doctors and health communicators. Importantly, all episode topics are vetted by these experts to ensure that they are relevant issues, considering the fluidity and uncertainty of the developments related to COVID-19. Subsequent seasons of the webinar series included a virtual Grand Rounds format. Grand Rounds are a time-honored tradition in medical education and in inpatient care, wherein the medical problems, research findings, and treatment of a particular patient are presented and discussed with an audience of doctors, residents, and medical students. Stop COVID Deaths brings the Grand Rounds to the digital age, enabling frontline doctors in COVID-19 hotspots to train hundreds, if not thousands, of residents across the country in the best and latest treatment practices. Later, even while continuing this innovative mode of long-distance medical training, the webinar series expanded to include virtual town hall meetings or fireside chats, where doctors, scientists, and inventors, policymakers, government representatives, and hospital administrators could gather to freely share their experiences and recommendations for COVID-19 management. It also provided a safe space where many medical professionals in the audience found not just new knowledge, but a much needed morale boost. To deliver information in a more convenient way, the producers developed Stop COVID Deaths shorts and Stop COVID Deaths highlights. These are standalone presentations of experts, and the highlights, which are the salient points of the webinar. How has the series fared? How do we know we are still on target? Now running for almost 3 years, The Stop COVID Deaths webinar has been undergoing a continuous process of readjustment and reevaluation. With 7 seasons under its belt, monitoring and evaluation measures were placed to gain insight on what the audiences wanted and to guarantee that they were given a voice in all the decision-making made for the creation of each webinar episode. A marker of the webinar success is its ability to regularly attract a relatively large and interested audience. Stop COVID Deaths has a total reach of 443,552 views who come from all the 17 geopolitical regions of the Philippines and 139 nations worldwide. Aggregate data from the webinars showed that the viewers found the topics to be essential and useful to their work, almost 100% agreement. Relevant to themselves and to their office, almost 100% agreement. That the content are organized and easy to follow, again, almost 100% agreement. And that overall, the webinar is very good at 93% or good at 6%. Importantly, 100% of viewers recommend Stop COVID Deaths webinars to their colleagues, friends, and family. Let me show you a little animation about the reach of Stop COVID Deaths nationwide in the Philippines and internationally. The animation shows the number of attendees by region of the country. The warmer the color, the more audiences there are. Internationally, Stop COVID Deaths webinar series is viewed in 137 countries, in almost all continents of the world. Our peak episode, as seen in this graph, is episode 39, Who Should Not Be Vaccinated for COVID-19? Are COVID-19 vaccines safe? In this episode, the webinar discussed contraindications for COVID-19 vaccination and the implications for people with underlying diseases, previous infections, and certain age groups, among others. Our main resource persons were the best in their fields, from the infectious control unit, the head of the pediatric departments, as well as the clinical epidemiologists of the Philippine General Hospital. Our peak season, as again shown in this graph, is season 4, with the webinars 36 to 49. We are sure that we have reached our target audiences. Data show that almost 40% of the attendees are clinicians, and that 4% have a role in hospital management, 3% are researchers, and a third are the general public. Majority of the attendees are or have been directly involved in the pandemic response. The webinar series has contributed not just to an overall better understanding of the crisis, but also increased confidence and greater morale among our medical frontliners. Stop COVID Deaths has garnered 5.16 million social media impressions, which represent the number of times its contents have been shown and shared on social media. On its own Facebook page, it has over 6,500 followers and rising. As expected, the webinar series' top location for most social media mentions are in the Philippines and in the United States. The Stop COVID Deaths audiences come from top institutions apart from the general public. Here you will see a cross-section of the institutions, medical and educational, that have tuned in to our series. The Stop COVID Deaths webinar series has been cited and referenced as authoritative and reputable by the prime media in the country, including the Philippine Daily Inquirer, the Business Mirror, and CNN Philippines. Moreover, promotions and coverage of the Stop COVID Deaths webinars are found in websites and social media platforms of various government agencies and in all the information and media platforms of the university and its constituent units, along with other academic and medical institutions. The webinar series continues to be a platform to inform the government and private sectors on strategies to address the challenges of the pandemic in the mid and long-term future. What are our important impact and contributions? Well, we have said over and over again that Stop COVID Deaths is the Philippines' first and only frontline focused medical webinar series in the country. Responsive to current issues, the webinar actually captures the oral history of the management and treatment of COVID-19. Moreover, we are sure that a great number of attendees from the academic community have an intent to share the learnings from the webinar to their students. Knowledge acquired from the webinar are also applied to institutional management by providing the channel that facilitates peer interaction, greater coordination across the medical field, particularly in terms of best practices and research developments, can be done. Doing so in an online virtual environment not only guarantees the safety of all participants, but also assures the widest audience impact and reach. What are our next steps? Where is Stop COVID Deaths headed now? When we entered the third year of Stop COVID Deaths, we transitioned to broader discussions on how the pandemic has affected health outcomes beyond COVID-19. We maintained the title Stop COVID Deaths, but expanded our talks to C, for current COVID-19 problems, O, for other outbreaks, V, for viruses, I, for infections, and D, for disasters. So it has become Stop, COVID, deaths. The Stop COVID Deaths series levels up to take a closer look at the emerging health problems in the community while keeping an eye out for developments in the Philippines and the rest of the world as they pertain to COVID. We proudly maintain Stop COVID Deaths as a credible online community, and we will continue to maximize the teaching and learning challenges and possibilities of the 21st century digital technologies. Thank you very much for your attention, and may you have learned from our experience.
Thank you very much, Professor Pernia. So we will now virtually present the certificate to Professor Pernia. Dino, if you could read the certificate.
Right. Thank you, Achala. The certificate reads, the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2022 ACMC International Conference, Colombo, Sri Lanka presents a certificate to Dr. Elena E. Pernia, our keynote speaker during the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2022 International Conference on Mediated Realities, Challenges and Opportunities in partnership with the Department of Mass Communication, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka on the 27th to 29th of October 2022, signed by the President of Asian Congress for Media and Communication, Dr. Azman Azwan Asmawati. May I request Dr. Pernia to open her camera and virtually receive the certificate. Thank you, Dr. Pernia.
Thank you as well.
Right, so we will now proceed to the open forum. So Dino will be reading your questions. If you could kindly put them in the chat box, and at the same time, please don't forget to mention where are you from, so then we can acknowledge you. So Dino, it's over to you.
Thank you, Achala. We have two questions in the chat box and another question sent to me. So let us read the first question. We only have a short time for our Q&A. So the first question is intended for Dr. Pernia. And this is coming from Adele Chua. I guess she is from the Philippines. Good afternoon, ma'am. Congratulations on the great reach of the webinars. How do we plan on sustaining the momentum as the world eases into the new normal, when now we have to live with the constant threat of the virus?
Thank you very much for that question. I'd also like to thank you for paying attention to the findings of our webinar, which we are truly proud of. Now, as to the issue raised, sustainability of the webinar series, in light of the fact that most of the world is now accepting COVID-19 virus as as something that we have to live with. Well, what we did in this latest season, we expanded COVID, the COVID, as it was previously used in reference only to the virus, and expanding it to COVID-related other diseases, other viruses, infections, and disasters. And I think that is one of our major steps in sustaining the series, making it relevant still to the issue of COVID, the virus, and to the expectation that there might be and there will be other viruses of such proportions in the future. Moreover, in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, we are attuned as well to climate issues, because we have put in the D, which pertains to disasters, which are brought on by climate change and earthquakes and other unfortunate events. So I hope that answers the question, but thank you for bringing it up. We will continue to reassess and make sure that the series sustains the various issues, health concerns that crop up in the near future.
Thank you, Dr. Pernia. We have a question for Professor Sunanda Mahendra. May we request our organizers in University of Kelaniya to give Professor Mahendra a microphone. The question for him is, in the tale of two stories, traditional media and the new media, which one is beneficial to the young minds today and why? In the tale of two stories, the traditional media and the new media, which one is more beneficial to the young minds today and why?
Do you want me to respond to that?
Very briefly, Professor. Yeah.
I think at least I need about 1 hour to exemplify point by point what you really mean by new media. Is it really new? Is it not a technological gadget that we are trying to say or talk about? And I'm surprised that our glossarial contexts are full of new media and all these paraphernalia connected with it. To be very frank, they may be very useful, they may be resourceful, but at the same time, the hazards that it creates have to be spelled out. So this is where I stand. I'm of course a rationalist in this point of view. If you see the phone that I am using, you'll be simply surprised. So I'm a very old-fashioned sort of aborigine in the field of communication. And that's what I have time to say, that's what I tried to say in Mediated Reality. How very real is the reality that you speak of? How very true and how very frank is the faith given to the technology? This is just a minute area that I tried to spell out, but it needs one whole book, and I am compiling that at the moment. I want to compare the various aspects of communication patterns. Even the term mass, is this mass? Is the smartphone a mass? And do we want to retain that tag for the future? How very true is Dennis McGill in his analysis of mass? Mass is a church-bound small group. Protesters are mass. Politicians are mass. We have 225 mass in the cabinet, in the parliament. There are so many. The teaching staff is a mass. But is that a reality? It's changing. And is it, can you call it mass? These are some of the queries that linger in my heart. And I go to sleep with all these things. And I dream of the changes.
Thank you. I guess it will really be a very long discussion, and it needs to be written in the book. And we are looking forward to that book, Professor Mahendra. Hopefully, we'll be able to see that.
That's a very important topic. Mediated reality is a new, welcome variant to the existing philosophies. Because we talk about various aspect segments, but actually mediated reality, the challenges and opportunities have to be spelled out at a larger perspective. I hope it has to be done much more physically, get together someday. UNESCO should be invited to sponsor this in some place convenient and to get most people to participate in it. And one whole area one whole new trend has to be set as regards mediated reality.
Thank you so much, Professor Mahendra, for your answer. And we have learned that the technology is a two-edged sword. Thank you so much. We will now proceed to the next question. And this is coming from Dr. Ricky Abalena. This is intended for Dr. Pernia. Thank you for sharing your successful webinar series. And what can we look forward to in the next few years in the terms of parallel endeavors, maybe beyond COVID?
Okay, thank you. If I invite you, Ricky, and everyone here to attend our webinar series so that you can see how it is expanding. Before I go into the topics, I'd like to say also that in one way, our endeavors to expand the series is by entering other media. You know, as we pointed out, we are now on television. We are cable casting nationwide in the Philippines via satellite. No? So one of our major networks, no, Signal, has well, we are utilizing one of the digital channels of of one of our main networks. So that's one way that we are expanding by expanding into another medium while retaining the media that we have. Moreover, we are also expanding in terms of the message itself. Our program, we are morphing or post-producing into smaller bite-sized segments, now which can be caught in our YouTube channel. But we are also thinking of bringing it out to other smaller media. You know how there are smaller media in many transportation hubs. You ride the subway or you ride the bus. You know, they have those dedicated, subway televisions that are there. So that's one way. In drugstores, in the malls, wherever there is an opportunity for us to bring out the message in short, bite-sized segments, we will do that. So that's one way of us expanding and making parallel efforts in terms of the message. Well, by message, what I mean is the webinar itself, the many messages of each of our webinars. But in terms of topics, we are doing other parallel endeavors, and which is why I invite you all. All you need to do is to Google the University of the Philippines Stop COVID Deaths webinar series, and smack, you're in. So may I extend this invitation to all of you. Those who want to attend it live can tune in with us every Friday at 12 noon to 2 p.m. Thank you, and I hope I answered the question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pernia. And I have to cut the Q&A segment of this conference because it's almost lunchtime in Sri Lanka now. And that ends our Q&A. Achala?
Thank you, Dino. So now we have come to the last item of our program. So I warmly invite the head of the Department of Mass Communication, Mr. Vijayananda Rupasinghe, to make the vote of thanks.
Ayubowan. First of all, I must say that as the head of the Department of Mass Communication, I am delighted to witness this wonderful opening ceremony of the 80th ACMC International Conference coming to an end successfully. I would like to thank Emeritus Professor Sunanda Mahendra and Dr. Pernia for accepting the invitation to deliver keynote speeches, and it was great to see fruitful discussion happening afterwards. In a way, even though we said that the conference would be held online, this opening ceremony is happening in hybrid mode. Right now, in front of me, more than 100 people are here present at the venue of the opening ceremony. So I would like to thank those who are present here today physically. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I would like to especially thank for the Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, and Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor M.M. Gunatilaka, all the deans of the faculties and heads of the departments of the Faculty of Social Sciences and other faculties. Thank you for sparing your valuable time. I would also like to thank Professor Chansiri Rajapaksha, Dr. Senani Harishchandra, and Dr. Sugat Mahendra Senrat for being present here today. I hope all of you had a good time participating in this ceremony. Next, I would like to thank to the guests who participating in this opening ceremony virtually, all the members of the ACMC and conference participants, especially Dr. Aswan Asman, President of the ACMC, and Dr. Rachel Khan. Thank you for the never-ending support extended from your end to the Department of Mass Communication. I express my thanks to the academics from all other departments, universities, and other officials who are accepting our invitation to join us today virtually. I would like to thank all the postgraduate and undergraduate students who joined today both physically and virtually. I hope no inconvenience was caused and all of you had a good time. Also, I should mention Senior Lecturer Aruna Okuliyana, the former head of the Department of Mass Communication, for initiating the organizing process of this conference 2 years ago. I should also mention Dr. Achala Abekon for her tremendous support to the department in making this conference a reality. My heartfelt gratitude goes to the academic and non-academic staff members of the Mass Communication Department for their absolute dedication in making this event a success. Finally, as the opening ceremony ends, I want to make a few announcements. At the end of the opening ceremony, the first two parallel sessions will begin at 1 p.m. in Sri Lankan time. Those presenting papers in A1 and A2 sessions are requested to present in their respective sessions 10 minutes before commencement. Other participants can join any session they would prefer to watch. Tomorrow, there will be 6 parallel sessions starting from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Sri Lankan time. On the third day, we only have a morning session for presentations starting from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. in Sri Lankan time. Once again, I would like to remind all the participants present in their papers in these sessions that they are requested to present 10 minutes before their sessions starts. Dear presenters, I wish you all the best and hope this conference will be an unforgettable moment for you all. Lastly, I would like to invite all of you to the closing ceremony as well, which will be on 29th of October, 11 a.m. Sri Lankan time. I hope to see you all in Saturday. Thank you. Ayubowan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rupasinghe. We are going to have our photo opportunity, so we would like to ask everyone in Zoom to open their cameras, and we are going to have a photo op as well in our physical venue. So may we request everyone to switch on their cameras for our photo opportunity.
Can we request the camera in the on-site to focus on the audience so that we have them in the picture as well? Achala, if you can go down and join the audience for the photo.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, our technical team will be taking the photo once everyone's camera is open. So, should we get a signal? Let me also take a photo for backup.
Yeah. There we are. Oops, zoom. Yeah.
Right. So are we all ready? Okay. So let me do the countdown in 3, 2, 1. Smile. One more. There are 2 pages. In 3, 2, 1. Right. And we will give our on-site participants the opportunity to have their photos taken as well. So, right.
The multi-screens have been taken online.
You mean the photos for our online participants? I have
Yeah.
taken a screenshot of our Zoom.
There are several panels. All check.
Right. I have 2 in my screen, so I was able to take all of it. Okay. So we will be waiting for our esteemed guests at the physical venue to have their photos taken as well in a University of Kelaniya.
Maybe they can stand so that it's a nicer photo. Everybody's seen.
Yeah, I think we are projected in their screen. So thank you everyone for attending. Yeah, I mean, yes, they can see us. They are waving.
They can see us, yes.
Right. So I'll be waiting for Achala to come back to the podium once they are done with the photo opportunity in the physical venue.
Yes, Dino, I think we will have a separate section for the physical photo. So shall we wind up?
All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have more than 1 hour break to give you more time to switch to the parallel session rooms. So we will be having 2 parallel sessions today, as mentioned by Mr. Rupasinghe, A1 and A2. And we advise all participants to proceed to the virtual lobby of the conference link, the Zoom link, and to join the parallel sessions of their choice once it starts. We are also reminding everyone, especially those who are presenting and the parallel session moderators, to be in their assigned parallel sessions at least 10 minutes before their time. So the parallel sessions will commence promptly at 3:30 p.m. in the Philippine Standard Time, or that is 2:30 p.m. in Bangkok, and 1 o'clock local time in Colombo, Sri Lanka.
That ends the opening ceremony of the 2022 ACMC International Virtual Conference hosted by the University of Kelaniya. Thank you very much. I am Dr. Achala Bacon.
And I am Dino Cantal. Please join us to the next 2 days of the conference. Stand by for parallel sessions A1 and A2. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you all. See you later.
Thank you, Dino and Achala.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye, Rachel.
Nice seeing
See
you.
you later.
Yes, Dr. Elena. We'll see you again next year.
Yes, face to face. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I must come. Be prepared, Rachel.
Okay.
Don't go
Okay.
gallivanting. Don't go gallivanting.
Yeah. Thank you for the invitation and
Yeah.
all the best.
Always
Bye-bye.
a pleasure to have you. Bye. Bye, Dino. How do I get out from here?
You need to click leave.
You let me. I didn't know. Leave webinar. And I leave this thing open,
Webinar.
yeah?